Welcome to the Green Wisdom Health Podcast with Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis, where you will learn about natural solutions to common ailments. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And today we are going to educate you a little bit about bouncing back from stress and fatigue, because who's not had that lately? All the way from being sick to trying to get well to just things going on in the world. We're all having a really tough time of staying well. So today...
We're staying happy.
Yes. So Dr. Lewis is good at staying happy and is going to teach us how to do that. We're also going to teach you about some common herbs and vitamins that you can take that might help that along as well. Specifically niacin and melatonin. And then we're also going to give you a little bit of education, if we get time, about 14 signs of a vitamin D deficiency that many of you take every day, but does it work? So today, Dr. Lewis, tell us why we're talking about all of this and how you can help.
It's October the 3rd, 2021, and Facebook went down, so we're going to have an entire world that's constipated because you can't go poop unless you carry your phone and look at Facebook. So, okay, I got the stink eye on that one too, right off the bat. We're more stressed because we're focusing on stress, and yes, there are things going on in the world that you need to be aware of and you need to be cautious of. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says, let's see, what does it say? It says, a wise man foresees danger and takes precautions, but a simpleton ignores the signs and suffers the consequences. That means we should be ready and we should be able to respond. We should be aware, but you cannot bathe in the negativity and the stress. And she's right. I have a bad or good tendency to be happy because, believe it or not, it is a choice. Your attitude at the beginning of anything, a difficult task or whatever, more than anything else will affect a successful outcome. And y'all that have dealt with me know I'm a little bit blunt, or maybe a whole lot blunt. We had the dish guy out the other day. Sorry, Dish, but you own this one. He was telling us why he couldn't do it before he even got up in the attic to see what the job would entail. And he said, well, this is more than 8-foot ceiling. And I said, and really and truly, you don't have a drill bit long enough to go through the header. And he was like taken aback. And then we had a guy looking at the dock to rebuild it. And Janet says, this guy's so negative, he's not going to get the job done. And he was looking at, Janet was talking to the builder that's going to rebuild our dock or boathouse. And Janet says, Vance, would you come up here and talk to this Dish guy? Because he's dumb as a sack of rocks, and he's so dumb he'll forget he met my husband. Just pretend you're my husband. And Vance, who has nothing to do with Dish, went and told him how to do it quick and easy. So it's all about attitude, folks. And if you go into taking these supplements, and that's why I tell people, throw them in and ask God to bless them, but be sincere when you ask that, because it really does make a difference whether you get good results or whether you get great results. So, Janet, where would you like to start? You want to start with niacin?
Yes.
Yes, I'm happy.
Okay. I don't know that I quite called him dumb, but okay, he wasn't very bright. But.
She did, and I remembered every word of it. I'm sorry, honey, you're right.
All right, yes, because people probably are going, I don't want to talk about niacin because niacin makes me flush. I don't want to take it. Don't really see the purpose of using that, but you'd be surprised what niacin does, and there may be a deeper reason to use it, right?
Read between the lines, folks. A lot of good things are being censored nowadays, so we're going to dance around that. And I'm a Baptist, so I can't dance. And by the time I drink enough, I will dance. I'm too drunk to dance, so we're going to dance anyway. So let's see what we can do here.
Well, people say it makes them flush, it makes them burn, itch, tingle.
If you're taking the right form, it might not. And then take it at night where you're asleep.
And that's what I was going to tell you. The form we have is a slow release, and it does not cause you to flush. And then you say, well, why do I even need that? They're actually finding a combination of niacin and melatonin combination improves metabolism. And so now they're both going, I don't want either one of those because they make me have vivid dreams and they'll make me tingle.
Well, insert your favorite lover and enjoy your dreams.
Well, we're talking about these two because they're very known to help people that are having chronic times of getting over fatigue.
And, maybe you had a bad toxin, and we've talked about being in a toxic world for many years, but sometimes we get more and more toxins. We talked about being crop dusted more than once in Mississippi and Louisiana. And there's other toxins that's being introduced. So this could help speed up your metabolism and speed up your detoxification process.
Well, and that's the deal, because it seems like after some people or a lot of people have been sick lately, they're telling us more and more that they have this chronic fatigue. I have no idea where it's coming from. I only know that I know how some things that could help.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. This would be interesting if her pants caught on fire.
I'm just dancing.
Yes, ma'am. You can lead.
But the combination of the two of these actually helps improve chronic fatigue. And it actually helps with weight loss because it adiponectin, which is secreted by fat cells, play a role in obesity-related diseases such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease.
Ooh, I'm going to talk about that.
The peptide has a direct action on vasculature, liver, and skeletal muscle.
And if your skeletal muscles are fatigued, this is going to be really, really good. Hey, let me go down a rabbit trail about niacin. It's involved in the normal secretion of bile and stomach fluids, which means bile, better liver detoxification to get that stuff out of you. And it's very important in the synthesis of sex hormones. People don't care anything else, but if it's going to improve their sex life, hey, I'm all in.
And they want to lose weight. So that's why I'm saying, you may not like melatonin, you may not like niacin, but the combination of two of them really help reduce body weight.
Melatonin is the bomb. I love it, love it, love it.
They have insulin sensitizing effects.
Which is good. Most of us are insulin resistant.
And then data also shows that adiponectin levels in people with coronary artery disease are lower, and the peptide modulates endothelial function and inflammation. So you want to speed up weight loss. You want to be not being so far being a diabetic.
Yeah, but you've got to be realistic. Some people are on Facebook, although it's down now, and they're showing what they're eating. It's like, don't be griping to me about you can't lose weight. I see the crap you're putting in the temple of the Holy Spirit, and it ain't good for it. Diseases or deficiencies of niacin might include something as simple as a canker sore, dementia, depression, diarrhea, dizziness, fatigue, halitosis, headaches, indigestion, insomnia, yes, limb pains, loss of appetite, low blood sugar, muscular weakness, skin eruptions, and inflammation. So
that's niacin?
Yeah, but how many times on podcast have I told you don't judge off of a list, because that list could also be, thyroid. It could be vitamin D. It could be lack of B12 and B6. But niacin is actually B3, and I had a question, another rabbit trail. Had a question the other day, said, well, in your B12 methyl supreme, you have riboflavin. What does riboflavin do? Well, it helps with the mental get up and go also, and lack of that can cause dermatitis, dizziness, hair loss, insomnia. So that B12 methyl supreme, Janet knows the day I didn't take it. So, yeah, you got to do it. And it has to do with the absorption of B6 peroxidine. That's the one that makes you happy, because it helps the happy hormones or neurotransmitters cross the blood-brain barrier from your GI tract.
But niacin also has a form of vitamin B3 in it to determine it helps protect kidney function. Did you know that? It's a form of B3.
That's a trap. When she asked me a question, if I said no, I didn't know that, y'all would think I'm a dummy. And if I say yes, of course, she thinks I'm a smart Alec. So
Yeah, so
she asked me something. It's a trap, folks.
Well, the reason I'm saying that, people always think niacin is just for lowering cholesterol.
And it does that. Causes the detoxification of the liver and bile fluids, yes.
Right. And now, with this thing of everyone being sick, I don't know where it's coming from, and they can't get well, right. We're finding other uses for things we've had on our shelf that may not have been so popular not that long ago. How's that?
So you could lead, honey. I'll dance.
So you might want to consider adding that in, because it's not just for cholesterol, right?
It's not just for breakfast anymore, as the old ad would say.
And what's interesting about smokers, they say that in light of niacin, an insufficiency of niacin may increase risk of severe disease. And interestingly, nicotine and niacin are analogs, meaning they
can go on the same receptor site.
Right, meaning they have similar means by which they work.
Yep.
In fact, successful nicotine addiction detoxification uses niacin to help replace nicotine in the body. So if you're trying to quit smoking, niacin can be a big help to that. And it may also explain how teenagers become addicted so quickly to smoking. One research postulated that if a teen's diet is insufficient in niacin, it would increase the body's craving for tobacco.
Well, everybody's insufficient because our foods are pretty nutrient deficient.
And now that you mention that, do you know what you have to eat to try to get niacin?
Pork.
Beef liver.
Okay,
also,
pork.
to help meet a woman's requirements. Salmon.
I'm going to go pig hunting. How about that?
Right. So there's people not wanting liver. So probably a lot of people are very niacin deficient. And severe niacin deficiency can cause neurological symptoms and progress to paranoid and suicidal behaviors with auditory and visual hallucinations.
And we're hearing more and more people that are having neurological problems. They're getting some sort of toxins in their system, and then they get, I'm trying to be nice, not say bat.
This will just help them detox.
Some of them are, oh my God, incredibly angry, and that's not their normal personality. And it's like, well, okay, you're really toxic. And you know, we're talking about friends and family and patients. Folks, you have to increase your nutrient levels so that your body can work in warp speed or getting closer to 100% of what God intended you to be. And now's the time, folks, to increase your nutrient level. And now really time's getting short. Now's the time you should stock up an extra month or two of these things.
And now let's talk a little bit about melatonin. Melatonin's the other one y'all don't want to hear about because you don't want these wild dreams.
Yes, you do.
Well, Dr. Lewis was taking it for an anti-aging thing, so I started taking it also because I didn't realize it helped with anti-aging. And he's like, of course it does. You start losing.
Look at me.
I know.
I look good for 100.
Well, you start losing some of that when you get older, and he read how it really helped start reversing some of it. So I started doing it. You get used to it. It's not like you know, if you increase, like we've got some peppermint tablets, they're melatonin lozenges, so they dissolve differently than the melatonin slow release we have that's a capsule. And if you start with like one of those melatonin peppermint tablets, they not only taste great, but they help you go to sleep super fast. And then you do have dreams, but like I said, they calm down after a while. But melatonin helps protect brain cells during these infections that seem to be around. And
hey, it's the flu season, folks.
Yes, and melatonin and niacin combination have added benefits if you're sick at the time. So you might consider doing that if you feel like you've come down with something recently.
Well, you know, one of the reasons is it has a greater range of effectiveness than, say, vitamin C or vitamin E or beta-carotene, and those things are really, really good to take. So it's an antioxidant, prevents the harmful oxidation reactions.
Melatonin's also great for elderly. I didn't mean to look at you. I was just glancing your way.
It changes your hypertension and heart attack things. Of course, we'll get into natto, I hope. I doubt we'll get there. But can possibly reduce the risk of certain kinds of cancer. It stimulates immune system, plays a major role in production of estrogen and testosterone. Hey, more testosterone.
Yeah, it helps up with the elderly. It helps influence their circadian rhythm.
She loves using my senior discount, and it's like, man, it busted her butt when she got to use it when they had a really low number on that elderly discount. It's like senior citizen. Broke her heart, but it's okay to use mine and snicker about it.
Well, that's the benefits you get. It helps the melatonin. It also helps cardiovascular function, and there seems to be some kind of correlation lately with whatever illness this is going on and people having heart issues. So
there's a lot of that going on. But
right.
But now melatonin and DHEA are pretty seriously linked. DHEA, those of you that talk to me know that I'm a big fan of keeping it on the high level of a healthy 30-year-old, and most of us don't have that. Most 30-year-olds don't even have that because DHEA has been demonstrated to help with numerous chronic diseases, chronic inflammatory diseases, mood disorders, chronic pain syndromes, chronic fatigue syndromes. Am I emphasizing that too much? And it's got to do with cortisol and DHEA ratios. And guess what? Oh, my God. Exposure to chronic stress leads to a reduction in DHEA. So,
well, and that's what I'm saying, that you're getting this sickness and then you can't get over it, and then the chronic stress of things going on keep you from getting well.
I talked to a doctor last night, and she said, well, I've run a fever for 22 days. And it's like, well, you've got two things. They say, physician, heal thyself. And I think that's BS, which is bologna sandwich. The physician who treats himself treats a fool. I'm thinking, well, man, you're running a fever for 22 days. And all I could say is, well, let me know if you want me to help. In like 22 days, I can't fix myself. Janet's about 100 times more likely to do it correctly than I am on myself. So there's so many ways you could go with this, and we'll get back to it. One thing I don't promote very much, which I probably should, this is for people that they
would like prevention.
Yeah, but they don't want to do a whole lot of stuff, which I think is a mistake. Instead of saying what 2 or 3 is most important,
prevention for keeping their immune system healthier.
Yeah, and increased detox. Instead of saying, which 2 or 3 is most important, the successful people that are like, hey, what 1 or 2 can I add on top of what I'm doing?
And we do have these in individual products, but some people don't want to they don't have a lot of money to spend on individual products, so we've combined these important nutrients to make one product for you to just kind of do for maintenance.
It's called Immunocomplete. It's got vitamin C. It's got vitamin D, which is good. More is better. It has the zinc, and the zinc is the Trax, which we had Casey on to talk about. Trax is the real amino acid chelate system. And it's up to 20 times more absorbable. Then it has N-acetylcysteine, which for some strange reason helps stop some of these little bitty blood clots from forming, the bleeding. And then it has the quercetin dihydrate, which quercetin we've talked about before. And it says, 2 twice a day, that's 4 a day. I think that's a bare minimum. But the Immunocomplete, even for those that are taking a lot of these things, keep some on hand or take it yourself or give it to your spouse. I'm getting a lot of stories about, well, my spouse is not really wanting to do anything, but they're doing this and they're getting great results.
Yeah, and I do want you to mention, we're talking about melatonin and niacin. You do need to be careful, though. High-dose melatonin can also cause you, if you're doing over 5 to 10 milligrams a day, it's more likely to draw out heavy metals like mercury. And unless you're on a good detox program,
which means your liver,
right, you could cause biological damage. So you need to make sure that you're on something or talk to us about detoxifying things such as our liver supporting detox, we probably always tell you to do that.
And taurine and just the multiminerals, because it'll bond with the bad heavy metals. And, yes, it's real. If you have anything with high fructose corn syrup, you can bet your butt you're getting mercury, because that's, a byproduct going into the high fructose corn syrup. And who doesn't consume that? Well, that's a good thing to get the heavy metals out of your brain, out of your system. But as Janet says, you can detox too fast. So, be careful what you do. Be careful who you listen to. And I'm always so polite. And people ask me, well, what about this product? I said, can you talk to the doctor that's promoting it? They said, no. Think on these things, folks.
Good point. They probably also don't run lab work to see where these people are at. Just give it to them because they've got a important name. So
this doctor last night, she said, well, I'm thinking about coming and running your lab. I'm thinking you've had a fever for 22 days and you're thinking about it. But I was very polite, as normal for me, as Janet snickers and rolls her eyes.
Well, and then another side effect of this illness seems to be clots, like blood clots. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what nattokinase does for blood clots, because...
I don't know. I took 2 last night just so I can not have a heart attack. It lowers your risk. It lowers your fibrinogen activity is what it does. And yes, we can measure that on lab.
And what is fibrinogen activity for people that don't know what that is?
Well, when you get cut or you have some vascular damage, it can help you clot. But the problem is it can be so great that you have too much fibrinogen activity and you're more likely to clot. So now when I cut myself, and I'm bad about being overly active, Janet tells me to, calm down. It's like, no, I got to get this done. And I cut myself a lot because I just jump in the middle of it. Well, I bleed like I did when I was a young teenager, blood dripping off of my arm down the end of my fingers. Well, think about thinner blood means your pump is going to work less hard and have less stress on it because it has a lower viscosity, so it pumps easier. So thinner blood's good, and you're still going to have enough fibrinogen that if you cut, you're still going to clot before you bleed to death, but it's not pumping super thick blood. Basically, your C-reactive protein and your homocysteine is about all you need to know about blood viscosity and heart health.
So I would tell people that just as a preventative, you might want to just get on nattokinase because it does help break apart fibrinogen,
and so does so does niacin, so does N-acetylcysteine. The natto is coming from fermented soybeans, and people say, but I have to be soy-free. If you've got an allergy to soybeans, it's probably most likely in a huge percentage not going to affect. What you need to avoid with soybeans is, first of the glyphosate field, you need to avoid soy protein, but once it is fermented, it's way good for you. It's really helpful in preventing and treating cardiovascular disease. It fights the buildup of fibrin, which we talked about. The buildup of fibrin reduces circulation. It breaks up clots, restores blood circulation to diseased vessels. There's many studies that said that natto can be an effective replacement for warfarin or Coumadin, but do not do that without the knowledge and consent and the monitoring of whoever prescribed warfarin or Coumadin. Don't do it on your own. That would be foolish. One of the side effects of taking natto is about a 10% lowering of your blood pressure, both diastolic and systolic, which 10% on me is a big deal. And, I want to keep it low. I always tease, if your blood pressure is high enough that a mosquito bites you and it blows out his rear end, natto and some other things might be very appropriate.
And they're actually finding that some of the blood pressure medications are opening doors to some of these, this illness.
Yeah, if you've got an ACE inhibitor, you have the doors open for certain viruses to attack you.
Right.
And yes, this comes from research.
So you might want to get with us to try to help with blood pressure lowering, things that are natural, things that'll keep you from forming fibrinogen so easily.
And I don't know if it's time, but vitamin D closes those doors also. And I get people all the time. I just analyzed 2 or 3 labs and said, oh, they're taking the snot out of vitamin D. Well, why is it 30? And it should be 75 to 100.
Because of quality.
Yeah. And I hear people all the time, folks, we need to get real with ourselves. We need to invest in our own health. We need to invest in our mental health. And, geez, find something to be happy about. And that's not a long trip for me. But don't tell me you're doing a program but you hadn't ordered in 6 months, because if you're taking anything, I know it's the low-quality stuff, and the lab does not lie. The lab says, oh, the quality stinks, or you've got gut leakiness and poor absorption, which is possible.
It's admirable they listen to you about what they need, but if they go just buy stuff over the counter and it don't work, you really still just wasted money. I mean, I think Casey talked about that a couple of weeks ago about the difference.
Well, I said once the most expensive vitamin in the world is the cheap one that didn't work, and I had several people says, I don't have a clue what you're saying. It's like, well, never mind. I can't explain it down to your level of understanding, but it comes down to trust, and that's why I tell people it's not about your knowledge, it's about your trust, it's about your spirit of discernment, because that is more accurate than knowledge.
And there are some other signs that you might have a vitamin D deficiency, such as your muscles ache. They actually have contributed that some of the nerves that are vitamin D receptors affect the perception of pain. So you can actually have deep aching muscles, and you put some good vitamin D in there, you'll feel better. They say their bones hurt.
I've heard that a lot.
That's because a vitamin D deficiency can cause your bones to soften, and it may be a precursor to osteoporosis.
And you need the K, which we explained that in a pretty cute little way, I think. But let me go down another rabbit trail. Direct antimicrobial actions of mushrooms. Okay, we're talking about immune system, all right? Mushrooms and their extracts can modulate your immune cells. They have activities that can act directly on harmful microorganisms such as Staphylococcus aureus and Gandoderma and HIV. There's a lot of good research, and I'm reading from notes that came from research. Influenza virus, right? Flu. And its polysaccharides, they've researched the heck out of this from the turkey tail mushroom. It normalized liver function, which is very important, we've talked about. But it talked about these people and their boosted immune system after observing this for 1 year. Folks, I've seen so many people, they say, well, I'll try a bottle of this or a bottle of that. It's like, no. In drug trials, they can go a long time, in 6 months or a year. So throw it in and give your body physiologically time to change. One of the most important things, and I take it a lot, is the Immune Essentials. It's got cordyceps, and cordyceps is, oh my God, wonderful for respiratory system. And for some strange reason, people are getting respiratory issues. Green tea extracts, you know about that, super antioxidant. Blazy mushrooms, turkey tail, reishi, and maitake, and shiitake. Sound like a Japanese. Anyway, the Immune Essentials, I'm afraid not to take it. It really, really works well. So more is better. We're in trying times, and just the stress in and of itself, the mental stress, can lower your physiological or your physical ability to deal with the things that are going on. So you have to bless it spiritually. You have to bless it mentally. You have to bless your body physically. You have to bless your body by decreasing toxins, and you have to bless your body by increasing the detoxification.
Well, that's awesome. I found a couple of other interesting things about vitamin D that I just thought, you don't usually hear. Oh, it's a lack of vitamin D can cause you to have a sweaty head. Did you know that? Just excessive sweating, especially on your head, can be a vitamin D deficiency. I'm trying to give you some clues here if you've not done lab to figure out where your levels are. Poor sleep has got to do with can do with vitamin D deficiency. Hair loss, wounds that heal slowly, dizziness, and heart problems. So I don't know why you wouldn't take vitamin D. It does a whole bunch.
Yeah, and get it tested, because there's plenty of research that says you really can modulate and boost your immune system once it hits around 75 to 80, and somewhere around 75 to 100 is very, very appropriate. It doesn't get toxic until around 140, 150.
And we got people that are doing that. They're like overdoing the vitamin D because they're hearing, they'll hear this show and they'll go add some more in. You guys need to consider lab work if you've not done it.
Yeah.
It's very low cost. We can do it across the United States. The things Dr. Lewis is talking about, he can see if you need nattokinase. He can see if you need immune essentials. There's so much on that lab that's so inexpensive, there's no reason not to get it. The way it takes the guesswork out of what you're taking, instead of just going, well, gosh, I'll just add more of this in, because you really can't overdo a good product. So consider doing that. Dr. Lewis, what do you have to end our show with us today to inspire people to stay well, to be happy, and not be fatigued or stressed out?
The easiest way to make yourself happy is go out and bless somebody else first and foremost. And, it's way past time for me to buy somebody's lunch or buy their coffee or whatever, and to bless them. I love to do that anonymously. Sometimes I get busted at it. I would say go out and be bold, be brave, and be courageous. Actually, that's out of the Bible. That's Joshua, I think. And the other thing that we're missing, I think, in society, or maybe this is just a reflection of me, I think we need to be still. There's a scripture that says, be still and know that I am God. And that's why I like to deer hunt. It's like, put your phone down, Stephen, and watch for the bobcat, watch for the deer. Hadn't shot one in 18, 20 years, but that's a different story. Pigs, I'll shoot. But be still. We need to get quiet and get away from the electromagnetic radiation.
Yeah, and we want to mention one other thing. We have a new feature on our website at greenwisdomhealth.com. It is a product quiz. We can't possibly understand why you wouldn't want to talk with us. We're so much fun. But if you don't, you have friends or family that don't want to do blood work, and we have a lot of people now with what's going on not wanting to go down and get their blood drawn. We've developed a system where you can plug in some answers, and it will offer you some products based on what you've put in. So that's kind of cool. We've had several people have started using that already. You can share that with your friends. If you want to get more serious and want to know what's going on with your health, fill out the health survey. It'll recommend a lab panel, and you can get started that way. We hope you enjoyed our show as we danced around things, and Dr. Lewis would like to waltz us into closing.
I can't waltz unless she counts, but, one of the best and the most beautiful things in the world, they can't be seen, they can't even be touched, but they have to be felt by the heart. Let's get healthy again. Let's get happy. God bless you.
Have a great week. We'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You're only one step away from a life worth living.